You have a man from Europe, I don't know if he's here, I saw him backstage. What he did was, and what he is doing is sort of what we did a few years ago. He's doing a great job. He's always been my friend for some reason. He liked me, I liked him. And he's shaking it up pretty good over there. He was the big winner of the last election in the UK, and he's a very spectacular man, very highly respected, Nigel Farage.
I'm sure the Prime Minister and the whole House would wish to congratulate Donald Trump on his landslide victory last week.
Is that hold on. I will hear the question. Nigel.
Thank you. But within a couple of days we'd learned of a third assassination attempt. Charges have been laid, and behind it are Iran's Revolutionary Guards. Has the time not come, Prime Minister, to prescribe what is so obviously a terrorist organisation, and in doing so, not just do the right thing, but maybe mend some fences between this government and the incoming presidency of Donald Trump's, given that the whole of his cabinet...
Donald Trump isn't one to stay silent, especially when it comes to his political allies. After UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer took a shot at Nigel Farage on live TV, Trump wasted no time firing back. His response? Classic Trump. Bold, unfiltered, and straight to the point. Let's break down exactly what went down and why this clash is making headlines.
Just to follow up on that, if British troops are in Ukraine keeping the peace and get attacked by Russia, will you come to their aid?
If the British people are in Ukraine and they get attacked,
if British soldiers in Ukraine.
you know, I've always found about the British, they don't need much help. They can take care of themselves very well.
That sounds like
you know what? No, it sounds like it's evasive, but it's not evasive. You know, the British have been incredible soldiers, incredible military, and they can take care of themselves. But if they need help, I'll always be with them.
Donald Trump has just entered the fray with a fiery response that could shift the entire conversation. His words weren't just a rebuttal, they were a knockout blow aimed directly at Keir Starmer. It all started when the UK Prime Minister made a bold statement during a televised interview, setting the stage for a political showdown no one saw coming.
If we don't show a path to the future, others will fill that void. In fact, they already are. A dangerous right-wing politics, even here in Scotland, that will say they are the ones who can tilt politics towards the interests of working people, even as their proposals do precisely the opposite.
Keir Starmer didn't hold back, launching a direct attack on Nigel Farage and Reform UK, branding them as dangerous extremists unfit to lead Britain. He dismissed them as mere political opportunists, accusing them of misleading the public with empty promises and false narratives. His bold remarks sent shockwaves through the political landscape, sparking fierce reactions from supporters and critics alike. But little did he know, his words would soon provoke a response from someone who thrives on political battles, Donald Trump.
Right, well, you've just come back from America, so let's talk about Donald Trump. How does Britain benefit, do you think, from a second Trump presidency?
Well, number one, I mean, he's actually a pro-British president, which Joe Biden very clearly wasn't. He's got a huge soft spot for this country. And that gives us some advantages. I mean, obviously, there's, in terms of trade, we are still the biggest foreign investor in America.
However, what Starmer didn't anticipate was the firestorm his comments would ignite. Instead of weakening Nigel Farage and Reform UK, his attack had the opposite effect. It fueled their momentum. Supporters didn't waver, they doubled down, rallying behind Farage with even more determination. To them, Starmer's words weren't a warning, they were proof that the political establishment was feeling the pressure. The backlash was swift, and as tensions escalated, one voice was about to make things even more explosive: Donald Trump.
Nigel Farage didn't even turn up to the debate in Parliament today. Nigel Farage is fawning over Putin. That's not patriotism. That is not what working people need. What I've done is take the duty of Prime Minister seriously, which is to ensure that our citizens are safe and secure, and this decision is made to ensure that they are safe and secure. It is a decision intended to ensure that we fight for the peace that we've enjoyed for the last 80 years, so that for generations to come, they can enjoy the freedoms that we have enjoyed. So I've taken this.
Recent polls reveal that Keir Starmer has been walking a political tightrope for months, trying to position Labour as the true party of the working class. But there's a major problem. Working class voters aren't buying it. Instead, they're flocking to Reform UK in massive numbers, drawn to its message and growing influence. Starmer's attack was likely an attempt to undermine their rise, but if anything, it only strengthened their appeal. And now, with Donald Trump stepping in, the battle for Britain's political future is about to get even more intense.
Do you think that he sounded like he was running scared of reform? Because initially he absolutely did not take them seriously at all, and now it seems the penny is dropping.
Well, I wouldn't say he's running scared, but I would say that is very clear from this speech and from the letter that he wrote to cabinet ministers recently, which is a very interesting letter, underreported, I think. It's very clear from that he regards reform as the main threat to Labour at the next election. He's not interested in Kemi Badenoch and the Tory party. He thinks that reform are coming after Labour votes. And that they have to fight back against reform, and they're prepared to do that. I mean,
people are fed up with empty promises and career politicians who seem out of touch with their struggles. They want a leader who understands their frustrations, not one who just pays lip service to their concerns. That's where Nigel Farage comes in. He speaks their language, cuts through the political double talk, and tells it like it is. His no-nonsense approach is exactly why he's gaining traction among working-class voters. And then there's the issue of workers' rights, an area where Labour traditionally held the upper hand, but now even that is being challenged. Reform UK is tapping into the dissatisfaction, and Starmer's attack may have only fueled their momentum. Starmer tried to paint Farage as a threat to workers, accusing him of opposing crucial employment protections. But the reality on the ground tells a different story. Many small business owners and workers themselves are beginning to push back against Labour's policies, arguing that they stifle growth and create more red tape than real opportunities. Instead of rallying behind Starmer's attack, many are questioning whether Labour truly represents their interests anymore. Reform UK, on the other hand, is tapping into this frustration, positioning itself as the real voice of the working class. And with Trump now weighing in, this political battle is only getting more intense.
Don't underestimate the danger to the world if Trump is re-elected this time around. I'm anti-Trump.
But is anyone really surprised? Since Starmer and Labour took over, businesses have been drowning in higher taxes, tighter regulations and endless red tape. Employers are feeling the squeeze, struggling just to keep their doors open. Instead of expanding and creating new jobs, many are being forced to cut positions just to survive. It's a crisis that Labour seems unwilling or unable to fix. And that's exactly why Farage's message is striking a chord. He's tapping into the frustration of business owners and workers alike, offering them an alternative to the status quo. While Starmer tries to paint him as a threat, more and more people are starting to see him as a necessary change.
So the EU reset, I guess it really began last night. Keir Starmer heads off to Brussels for dinner with the other European leaders. The choice of location was fascinating. Palais d'Egmont, which is where they never have dinners there. They nearly always have them in the council building. Why did they choose that building? Well, there was symbolism here because that is where Edward Heath went to sign the accession treaty in 1972. I think that was a bit of a game and an attempt to ever so slightly humiliate the British Prime Minister. We got a raft of conclusions, one of which was that we're going to deepen industrial collaboration. We're clearly going to get closer to EU rules. We may even allow the ECJ some oversight. But a lot of what was discussed last night will become clearer at a summit.
Farage is promising to slash unnecessary regulations, cut business taxes and put British workers first. Policies that are winning over those who feel abandoned by Labour. But instead of recognising this shift, Starmer has chosen to dig in his heels. Rather than addressing the concerns driving voters toward Reform UK, he doubled down, insisting that Farage and his party would be a disaster for Britain. His warnings, however, may not be having the intended effect. Instead of scaring people away, they're making Reform UK look like an even bigger threat to the establishment, something that only seems to be fueling their rise. And now, with Trump stepping in, the political battlefield has just become even more unpredictable.
President, did our Prime Minister persuade you not to put tariffs on the UK? And if I may, Prime Minister, do you think that Vladimir Putin is a man who will keep his word? Thanks.
He tried. He was working hard, I'll tell you that. He earned whatever the hell they pay him over there. But he tried. I think there's a very good chance that in the case of these two great friendly countries, I think we could very well end up with a real trade deal where the tariffs wouldn't be necessary. We'll see. But he earned whatever they pay him here and today. He was working hard at lunch. And I'm very...
But that's when things started to unravel for Starmer. His words didn't just provoke a response from Farage, they caught the attention of Donald Trump. And when Trump speaks, the world listens. The former US president wasted no time weighing in, delivering a scathing response that sent shockwaves through the political arena. His intervention didn't just add fuel to the fire, it turned the spotlight on Starmer's leadership and the growing divide within the UK's political landscape. Now, with Trump backing Farage, this political showdown has escalated to an entirely new level. We all know Donald Trump never holds back, and when he caught wind of Keir Starmer attacking Nigel Farage, he didn't hesitate to hit back. In classic Trump fashion, he delivered a blistering response, branding Starmer a weak leader who is out of touch with the real struggles of the British people. His words weren't just a defense of Farage. They were a direct challenge to Starmer's leadership, exposing what Trump sees as Labour's failure to connect with working-class voters. And just like that, a UK political dispute turned into an international spectacle, with Trump once again at the centre of the storm. Trump didn't hold back, accusing Starmer of being just another member of the failing political elite that has driven the UK into crisis. He slammed Labour's leadership for skyrocketing energy bills, uncontrolled immigration, and policies that, in his view, have hurt working-class families the most. But this wasn't just another political jab. When Trump speaks, his words send shockwaves through the political world. His attack on Starmer wasn't just about defending Farage. It was a direct shot at the very foundation of Labour's leadership. And with his global influence, Trump's remarks have only added more pressure to an already intensifying political battle. Trump's message was crystal clear. He stands firmly with Nigel Farage. In his eyes, Farage isn't just another politician. He's a warrior, a fearless fighter taking on the establishment and refusing to back down no matter how fierce the attacks against him. It's that unshakable defiance that has kept Trump and Farage as close allies for years. Both men see themselves as political outsiders, battling against elites they believe have failed the people. And now, with Trump's full-throated defense, Farage's movement has just gained even more momentum on the world stage.
And what about Elon Musk?
Well,
and the closeness that Alice described, the potential, the conflict of interest.
Yeah, he's very interested in British politics.
Why is he so interested?
The reason he trolls Keir Starmer is because Elon believes in free speech, and Keir Starmer locks people up who say nasty things on Facebook.
Jackie, do you want to answer that?
No, yeah. He doesn't.
No. Well, the justice system does. We've got two-tier care, we've got two-tier police.
Starmer and his allies scrambled to dismiss Trump's remarks, brushing him off as an outsider who has no business interfering in British politics. But that argument fell flat, because this isn't just about the UK. This is about a global movement, the rise of populism, and a growing revolt against the political establishment. What's unfolding isn't just a local dispute. It's part of a much bigger battle, one between traditional politics and a new wave of nationalist leaders challenging the status quo. With Trump now involved, this has gone from a heated UK debate to an international headline, drawing attention far beyond British borders. Starmer's attack on Farage was meant to rally support from the left, a strategic move to solidify his base, but instead it has backfired, exposing deep divisions within Labour's own ranks. Many of its traditional voters, especially those in working-class communities, don't see Farage as the enemy. For years, these voters were the backbone of Labour, but now they're feeling increasingly alienated. They see Farage as someone who speaks their language, someone who challenges the establishment they believe has failed them. Instead of uniting his party, Starmer's attack has only highlighted a growing disconnect between Labour's leadership and the people it once relied on.
Of course, I wouldn't want Donald Trump round for dinner, but don't underestimate the danger to the world if Trump is re-elected this time around. I'm anti-Trump. I would like to send my warmest congratulations to President Trump on his inauguration as the 47th.
And with Trump amplifying the message, the cracks within Labour are becoming harder to ignore. Instead, they see Farage as a fighter, someone unafraid to take on the establishment and call out the political class that has overlooked their struggles for years. To them, he's not just another politician, he's a disruptor, a voice for those who feel unheard in the halls of power. And now, with Trump's endorsement, his message is more powerful than ever, resonating far beyond the UK and fueling a global movement that challenges traditional politics. If you found this discussion insightful, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more sharp analysis on the biggest political stories shaping our world.